Hola, me llamo SAFIAH binti HELMY. Mi número de matrícula es 202533. Ahora le voy a enseñar a mi hermana a saludar en español. Su nombre es Masita binti HELMY. Ella es estudiante y tiene 19 años. Hai Masita.
Hi.
Okay, so before we begin, I would like to share some phrases or words that I will use in this lesson. So first of all, the phrases that I will use is sí, which means yes, and then vale, which means okay, and then repite, por favor, which means repeat, please. So if I say, Masita, repite, por favor, which means that I would like you to repeat the words or phrases on the screen. Is it that okay? Is it okay?
Sí.
Vale, muy bien. So now let us begin our lesson. So before we start to learn the phrases or words that we can use to greet in Spanish, let's learn some body language to greet. So, ¿cómo saludan los españoles? How Spanish people greet, usually between males, they will shake hands, dar la mano, and between females, they usually give 2 kisses on the cheek, dar besos. And sometimes they give hug, dar un abrazo, and this apply for both female and males. So now we already know how to greet Spanish people. So now let's learn the phrases. Saludos, greetings. One of them is buenos días, which means good morning. Buenos tardes, which means good evening. Buenas noches, which means good night. Mashita, repite, por favor.
Buenos días, good morning. Buenas tardes, good evening. Buenas noches, good night.
Sí, muy bien, gracias. So now we already know how to greet, whether it is morning, evening, or night. So, but how do we want to say hello? Because we know that this word is very important if we want to start conversation or greet someone. So in Spanish, how do we say it? We will say hola. So in Spanish, the H will be silenced, which means that we won't pronounce it. So if you want to say this word, you will say hola instead of hola. Mashita, repite por favor this word.
Hola.
Sí, muy bien, gracias. Very good. So now we already know how to greet or start conversation, but of course we want to keep the conversation going. So usually we will say, how are you? So there are a few ways to say how are you in Spanish. One of them are ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? And how we pronounce the QEE, we say ¿Qué tal? And then another one is ¿Cómo está usted? So all of these phrases means the same thing, which is how are you? The only difference is these two is for informal, and then ¿Cómo está usted? Is for formal situation. What I mean by informal, which means that with your friends or family, like siblings, or maybe someone who you really close to. While ¿Cómo está usted? Usually with your teacher, profesora or professor, or someone who's older, or someone who has higher authority than you. And this phrase, what makes it more formal is actually because of this usted. Usted actually means you, which but the only difference is a bit formal. And the UD over here actually also means usted, but it's just in the shorter version than this one. Okay, Mashita, repite por favor.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo está usted?
Sí, bien. We already know how to say how are you in Spanish, so now we need to know the response or respuestas. So if somebody say how are you, we can reply bien, which means good or fine, or we can say muy bien, which is mean very good, or we can say estoy bien. Estoy mean I am, and bien means fine. Or you can say estoy regular, which means I am okay. Mashita, repite por favor.
Bien,
Bien.
good, fine. Bien, good, fine. Muy bien, very good. Estoy bien, I am fine. Estoy regular, I am okay.
Actually, it's regular.
Estoy regular, I am okay.
Sí, muy bien, gracias. So if somebody asks how are you, so you can reply either any of this. But what if is for example, if you're not in a good mood, so you can reply no estoy bien, I'm not fine, or you can say terrible, which means terrible. So you can see that the spelling for English and Spanish is the same, but the pronunciation is different. The R, we will push it a bit, terrible instead of terrible. And then you can also say phenomenal, which means terrific, or you can say así, which means so-so, or you can say como siempre, which means as usual. So you can choose either any of this according to your mood that time. So now you already know how to respond with respuestas. So we'll continue siguiente. How to say thank you, como decir gracias. So if you want to say thank you, you can say gracias, which means thank you, or you can say muchas gracias, thank you very much. Muchas means very much, or you can say gracias por todo. So por means for, todo means everything. Machita, repite por favor.
Gracias, thank you. Muchas gracias, thank you very much. Gracias por todo, thank you for everything.
Sí, muy bien. So now we can continue. So this is it. You want to say thank you. What if somebody say thank you to you and you want to reply? You so the respuestas, you can respond de nada, which means welcome, or no hay de qué, which means don't mention it. So for reminder, the H you will silence it, and QE you will say que, not que. So Mashita, repite por favor.
De nada, welcome. No hay de qué, don't mention it.
Sí, muy bien. So siguiente, how to apologize, como disculparse. There are a few ways to say it. We can say disculpe or perdón, which usually we use it to get someone's attention or to seek forgiveness. So usually, if you want to ask something to your professor, or someone else, you can use this word. Or maybe you can say lo siento, which usually used to show emotion or death or feeling. For example, death or divorce. Or maybe you can say con permiso, which means which usually used to seek permission to pass by someone or to leave you, so you can imagine it's like saying excuse me. So Machita, repite por favor only the Spanish.
Disculpe, perdón.
Perdón.
Perdón. Lo siento. Con permiso.
Sí, muy bien. So you can choose either any of this according to your situation. Siguiente, we have reached the forms of taking leaves or farewell. Formas de despedirse. So how you want to say goodbye to someone, you can say adios, which means goodbye, which is very popular and common, or you can say hasta pronto, see you soon, or you can say hasta la vista, see you until we meet again, or you can say hasta la próxima, see you next time, or you can say hasta la mañana, see you tomorrow, or you can say cuídate, take care. So for this N here that has the curly thing up there, the way you pronounce it is ña, not na. So you will say hasta la mañana, not hasta manana. So Machita, repite por favor.
Adios, goodbye. Hasta pronto, see you soon. Hasta la vista, see you until we meet again. Hasta la próxima, see you next time. Hasta la mañana, see you tomorrow. Cuídate, take care.
Sí, muy bien, gracias. So this is how, if you want to say goodbye, you can choose either one. Or maybe if you want to be specific to the day, you can also say hasta el lunes, hasta martes, hasta miércoles, or hasta el jueves, hasta viernes, hasta sábado, or hasta domingo. So you can just choose either from this day. So now we already finished all of the lesson. Let us do some quiz. So let's try this. Intentemos esto. So here in this picture, you can see that this person is greeting someone, and it's in the morning. You can see the sun over here. So how do you think we can greet?
Buenos días.
Sí, muy bien. Siguiente. So you can see here the child over here is already in the bed. So, and you can see it is night. So if you want to greet someone at night, how do you say it?
Buenos noches.
Buenas noches. Sí, muy bien. So, siguiente. So from this picture, you can see that this girl is saying hola, ¿cómo estás? Which means hello, how are you? And then this boy will answer. What do you think the boy will answer?
Muy bien, gracias.
Sí, muy bien. That's the most accurate answer. Siguiente. So from this picture, we can see that this is a student and he's talking to his teacher. So he's saying something, and the teacher responds, muy bien, gracias. So what do you think the student said?
¿Cómo está usted?
Sí, muy bien. So because he's saying to a teacher, which means that you have to say it in formal. So you have to include the usted. Sí, muy bien. Siguiente. So in this picture, you can see that this boy over here is helping an old woman to cross the street. So this old woman is saying something, and then the boy answered de nada, which means you're welcome. So what do you think the old woman said?
Muchas gracias.
Sí, muy bien. That's the appropriate answer. Siguiente. So in this picture, you can see that this girl seems to already have broke this little boy's toy, and she seems like she really feels bad. So what do you think she will say?
Lo siento.
Bien. So she feels sad and she wants to express it. So she will say lo siento. Siguiente. So this boy over here, he seems like he has a question and maybe he wants to ask his professora or professor. So what do you think he will say to get his teacher's attention?
Disculpe.
Sí, bien, that's you can say disculpe or perdón. So siguiente. So this seems like a very sad situation. So maybe this boy over here, maybe a boyfriend, novio, he maybe has to leave his girlfriend, novia, and what do you think the answer is?
Cuídate.
Sí, muy bien. So cuídate means take care. So it would be an appropriate answer to reply to say in the situation. Okay, so now we already finished. Parece que ya hemos terminado. Fue muy divertido, pero ahora tenemos que irnos. Adiós.
Adiós.